What I'm about to share completely transformed my relationship, even though my partner wanted nothing to do with relationship growth. And you might be doing the exact opposite of this thing right now. So I went from getting in a fight with my partner every time I brought up anything to do with relationship growth to these days, we go on couples retreats and he initiates deep talks about feelings and unmet needs. Still blows my mind. So years ago, my relationship literally felt like it was falling apart. Endless fights, disconnection, feeling unheard, feeling unappreciated. And I was doing everything right. I was working on communication, explaining my feelings, reading relationship books, but nothing changed. And I was so exhausted from being the only one trying to fix things. And then I discovered something that shifted everything. It was the exact opposite of what I was doing. So I am Lindsay. This is Loving with Intention. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what I learned that helped me make this huge shift and so much positive change. So let's dive in. I was feeling so stuck. No matter what I did, things weren't getting better. It didn't matter how many of those relationship books I was reading. I knew that things wouldn't change if he wouldn't read the books too. I thought all the time, things won't get better because he won't work on things. He had so many unhealthy, hurtful patterns. I knew that if he just dug in and started doing the work, we would be so much happier. If you're feeling any of that right now, I feel you so much. When I say it felt exhausting, I mean it. Absolutely exhausting. Day in and day out of being the only one trying is so hard. I had this vision of what I wanted our relationship to be like: ease, not walking on eggshells, being able to talk about challenging things without it going totally sideways or ending up just sweeping it under the rug. I wanted to be able to agree to disagree. I wanted fun. I wanted laughs. I wanted to really be myself. I would hang out with my friends and I would feel like I am 100% me. I would be having such a great time. And then I'd walk through the door, get in the presence of my partner, and it was literally like a switch flipped. The energy changed, my mood was low, I felt like I was hiding away, and I did not want that anymore. Nothing was working though. Nothing was working because he wouldn't work on his stuff. Well, that's what I thought. The problem was, when I say I knew that things wouldn't change if he didn't read the books with me, I thought I knew with 100% certainty. Turns out that was just a belief. Then my favorite relationship coach that I followed on social media put out a group coaching program, and he said that one person could really change things. And I was like, no way. I've been doing freaking everything. Maybe this works for some people, but we're too far gone. It won't work in my relationship. Even though I had all the doubts in the world, because I loved this coach, I trusted him, he seemed to know his stuff, I was in. So I am so happy to share with you what I learned in this group coaching program. And in addition to what I'm sharing today, I put together 5 really common relationship mistakes we make that are so harmful, and I was making every single one of them. So chances are you're making at least one. This free guide also tells you exactly what to do instead that will lead to much better results. So it was literally, and you can grab that in the description box, obviously. So it was literally on our very first group coaching call that I was like, oh my goodness, I've been trying really hard to fix things in our relationship, but I haven't been doing the right things. Sure, I was reading relationship books, but I was reading them to confirm what I already knew, that my partner's patterns were unhealthy, that they were a problem, that they were hurting me and our relationship. I was reading them to try to figure out yet another way to bring things up to get him to change. I was working on communication too. But it was all to express my needs, to express my feelings, to try to be heard, which obviously those are not bad things, but none of what I was working on was trying to hear him or see him or understand him or appreciate him. Do you see where I'm going with this? It really hit me in the face on that call and was so clear. The more I focused on trying to change him, the more I was actually creating the exact opposite of what I wanted. Every time I pointed out what he needed to fix, every relationship book that I left out so he would see it, every conversation that started with, we need to talk, I was actually pushing him further and further away. There's this book called Why Won't You Apologize by Dr. Harriet Lerner that I love so much. It says it in big letters, and I would literally purposely read it while sitting on the couch. I would hold it up like this awkwardly so he could see the big, bold title. If I did that in our relationship now, that would make us laugh. But back then, things were so tense. This move was just fully shaming and blaming him. It wasn't so subtle. It wasn't cute. It wasn't just our relationship that was suffering either. I was losing myself. My confidence was shot. I would spend time with my family and my friends just complaining about my partner. I was feeling bitter, resentful. I was losing sleep. I was constantly keeping score. I would literally notice I'm the first one to say, I love you most of the time. So every time I did, it was just another confirmation for me that he was the bad guy. I was pretty much sending him the message, you can't get anything right. As my coach started to share things that we often do in our relationships that are super harmful, I was mentally like, check, check, check. Damn. Here I thought he was the problem, the only problem, and I have all these harmful behaviors. And this isn't to say I was the only one bringing unhealthy patterns. He definitely was too. And I had collected enough evidence that changing him didn't work. So my coach helped me see my own unhealthy patterns as kind of a positive thing. The fact that I was nodding along like, I do that crappy thing, I definitely keep score, I am trying to change him. This was positive because it meant I had stuff to work on, which meant there was hope. I kind of expected to like rock up to group coaching and find out that I was indeed nailing everything. And then I was going to learn how to convince my partner to change. Evidently, that was not the plan. So the next 8 weeks were like all in on growing me, changing my patterns, changing the way that I showed up in our relationship. The massive change I've experienced in my relationship did not happen because I changed my partner or just by waiting for him to get on board with relationship growth before I jumped in. It happened because I went all in on growth and because I stopped trying to change him and instead changed how I showed up. Now, let me be super clear. This isn't about accepting hurtful behavior or pretending everything is fine when it's not, and none of my content is ever for abusive or unsafe relationships. I am not talking about ignoring red flags or staying silent when your needs aren't met. What I am talking about is approaching change in a way that actually works, because fighting, criticizing, trying to force someone to change, that usually just creates more resistance and disconnection. When I shifted how I showed up, it wasn't about letting go of my needs. It was about creating an environment where both of us could feel seen and heard and grow and heal. Because the truth is, when your partner feels attacked or criticized, they can't hear you. But when they feel safe and understood, that's where real change becomes possible. I just think of all the times that people have tried to convince me to try something or do this or do that. And the more that they tell me, the more I kind of pull away and don't do it. So I can see why this didn't work. And I have shared a lot of the change that I made with my coach here on Loving with Intention. But today I want to share a couple of things that I haven't shared before. As much as I would love to share everything, and I would, it would take me like a year to share all the things, which would be entirely unhelpful and overwhelming. So let's talk about two big things that I changed that I haven't really dug into before. My coach really helped me take action. One thing I started shifting was how I went into a conversation after a disagreement or argument. Before, I was trying to find the perfect way to articulate my experience and my feelings and how I wanted to be heard. What I changed was approaching these conversations from a place of wanting to see and hear him. That didn't mean I just tossed all my stuff away. It just meant that I was the one doing the relationship growth work. I was the one who just learned that someone needs to feel seen and heard before they can hear the other person, which makes so much sense. So now I knew that going in and being like, me, with no curiosity about his experience, he wasn't likely to be able to hear me. So instead, when I went in with that goal of hearing, understanding, apologizing, appreciating him, our conversations looked so much different. He didn't have to fight to be heard anymore because I was doing it. I was hearing him. He was feeling seen, which meant he was so much more likely to hear and see me. Picture that you are outside and there's a really cute cat on someone's lawn. You really want to pet it. If you chase after it, demanding attention, it's going to run away. But if you sit quietly, create a safe space, and show it that you're not a threat, it usually naturally just comes closer. And yes, I have sat on many a sidewalk to let a cute cat approach me. And it works a lot of the time. So much better than if I try to follow it into someone's yard, which I've also tried not so successfully. So that is what happened when I stopped chasing my partner with my demands to be heard and telling him the way that he should change. And instead, I created this safe space through understanding. He came closer. He started opening up. He started seeing me. And to be clear, I didn't do this from a place of, I'll just force it and hear his stuff so that I can be heard. I did it because I cared. I started wanting to know his inner world, and I wanted to really make a positive change in our relationship. So that's one thing. Another thing my coach helped me with was looking for things to appreciate. I talk about appreciation all the time, and I have shared the importance of this too. This was one of the very first things in the program that made a huge difference for me. I was so used to focusing on what my partner wasn't doing well, his hurtful behaviors, his tone, when he wasn't doing things the way that I wanted him to do them. My brain was drowning in the stuff that I wanted him to change. When my coach got us focusing on, in our group, what was going well, I was surprised at how many things I found to appreciate. It got easier and easier the more that I did it. These things weren't new, they'd been there all along. I just couldn't see them because I'd been thinking about what he wasn't doing well. I was training my brain to look for those things. Now, I started training my brain to find the good, which wasn't just great for my partner to hear, obviously, because finally he wasn't hearing how terrible he was at everything and how much he sucked for not wanting to do relationship growth work with me. It was actually great for me too because it made me in a better mood. Imagine the mood when you are only thinking about the things that you don't like about your partner. Those thoughts create feelings. Your energy decreases, I would lose sleep ruminating, I'd lose motivation, I would feel sad, I would feel discouraged. Thinking about the things I appreciated, it started a positive upward spiral. Those thoughts led to positive feelings, which rippled out into life. And it sounds like something so small too, just to look for things to appreciate, but I've lived it. It made such a difference. And this is what I do with my clients too. We look for things to appreciate together. And this doesn't mean that the hard stuff just goes away or that we don't get to talk about it. It just means we're bringing in a lot of love and appreciation too, and that's good for everyone. And if you have kids, my goodness, for them to hear you appreciating your partner, it changes their lives, their energy, their mood. It teaches them positive patterns. It just feels so good. So it's like a win-win, quadruple, double, triple, billion win. So those are just two areas that I started with, and combining them together was amazing. When I started truly listening and looking for things to appreciate, it was like unlocking a door that I've been trying to push open for years. And as I shared, you can grab the free 5 mistakes guide in the description box for 5 more mistakes I was making and the shifts that I made to actually create positive change. It is so great to just have those things to look at, identify where you're at, and start leaning into creating change. Many of our unhealthy patterns changed over time, and some of the results that I saw actually happened so fast. I've shared before that my partner went from being a hard no to wanting anything to do with the group coaching program to actually asking me about the modules by week 3, all because of how I started showing up. One of the first modules that we looked at together had us having a conversation about the roles that we each took in conflict. And I haven't shared this part before. This was a huge deal. To hear my partner fully own his role and how he saw himself in conflict, I was like, oh my goodness, you know that you do that? You don't just think that I'm the bad guy? It was like this massive weight off my shoulders just knowing that he was aware that he added fuel to the fire, and it gave me so much hope. And another quick change that I saw was that things just didn't feel so heavy anymore. I was filled with that hope and motivation. I felt energized. I was getting little hits of positive change, plus I had my coach cheering me on and keeping me accountable. It was amazing. Me joining that program and realizing that the way I showed up had a massive impact on our relationship, it was 10,000% the catalyst for the biggest change in our relationship. Fast forward to today, like I said, my fiance is game to come to couples retreats. And whenever I ask him to do anything to do with a relationship, with our relationship, he's a yes. I truly can't believe this is the relationship that we have today. I literally asked him last night, do you want to start doing superpowered appreciations when we take our vitamins every night? Because we always take our vitamins, so what can we add onto that would be so good for our relationship? Right away, he said yes. That is amazing. This is the relationship I wanted but never thought was possible. We both know each other's inner worlds now. We still argue, we still have misunderstandings because that's normal, but now it looks so much different. We come back together, and instead of just talking about what's on the surface, the words that were said, the tone that was used, things like that, we actually get under the surface now. What was triggered? What deeper needs were unmet? What worries or feelings were under there? This is how we get to grow through conflict. And I'm so grateful that I learned about this powerful shift years ago, and that it is now something that I get to share here and support my clients with. I have so many clients who sign up for the Love Journey process without their partner, who are in the same place that I was, wanting change, but not so sure it can happen. and then they start to experience it, and it's the best. I am so freaking grateful. Oh my goodness, I just noticed that I have the fire on. My face is just getting redder and redder. It's really warm in here. So let's wrap this up. If you are feeling exhausted from being the only one trying to fix your relationship, just know that there is so much hope. Your intentional action today is to grab that free guide and identify one mistake that you're making, because we all make relationship mistakes. And then you can choose to do the opposite, and it is all outlined there for you. It's in the description box. You got this. And you can check out the video on screen, and I will show you exactly how to use appreciation to create real change, even if things feel hopeless. I am sending so much love into your day. Remember that nothing changes if nothing changes, so let's have an intentional week.